In the sun-scorched village of Nzamba, surrounded by baobab trees and the hum of life, lived Ayana, a girl known for her fierce honesty and unshakable pride. Ayana was 22, tall and slender, like a reed swaying in the wind. Her skin held the depth of polished ebony, smooth and radiant. She had almond-shaped hazel eyes, always gleaming with fire, and her hair was coiled in thick, neat braids, wrapped in a deep red headscarf. She wore a simple Ankara-patterned wrap dress, earth-toned with golden patterns, and walked with a quiet grace that demanded attention. While others in the village whispered behind closed doors, Ayana spoke truths aloud, sometimes too boldly. It made her respected by some and feared by others. But she didn't care. She believed truth was light, and she would carry that flame, even if it burned. Jabari was the village chief's eldest son, 28, tall with broad shoulders and a calm, brooding presence. His skin was a deep bronze, his jaw sharp, his cheekbones carved like stone. His piercing gray eyes rarely showed emotion. He wore a dark blue tunic stitched with silver thread, and his leather sandals whispered on the dust as he walked. Though respected, Jabari kept to himself. Rumors floated like leaves in the wind, whispers of things he had done in the city, secrets buried behind that quiet gaze. But no one dared question him. No one except Ayana. Their tension was legendary. They clashed like fire and rain. Whenever she called out injustice, he would step in with careful, veiled words. He never shouted. He didn't need to. His silence was louder. One evening, the village gathered for the Moonfire Festival, a time when families danced, stories were told, and offerings were made to the ancestors. Ayana stood beneath the lantern-lit trees, her voice clear as she debated with elders about the unjust trading taxes imposed recently. "The poor cannot keep feeding the rich," she said, loud enough for all to hear. "Even our goats cry from hunger." Some villagers laughed nervously. Others nodded. Jabari, standing beside his father, narrowed his eyes. "Truth is sacred," he said calmly, "but spoken without wisdom, it becomes poison." Ayana met his gaze. "And silence in the face of wrong is a sin." A murmur spread. The air crackled with tension, but neither backed down. A week later, Ayana overheard two guards whispering near the old well. They spoke of a caravan robbery years ago where several traders died, and Jabari had been there. Not just there. He had led it. At first, Ayana didn't want to believe it. But as she questioned others quietly, old travelers, merchants, pieces of the truth surfaced like bones from dry soil. Jabari had lived a second life before returning to Nzamba, a life of blood and shadow. She burned with the need to expose him, not because she hated him, but because the village deserved the truth. At the next village council, Ayana stood once again in the center of the circle. This time, her voice didn't tremble. "Ask your son," she said, staring at the chief, "what he did near the mountains 6 years ago. Ask him why the traders from the north never returned." Gasps echoed. Jabari stood, calm as ever. "Do not play with fire, Ayana. But Ayana's eyes blazed. The fire is already here. The council erupted. Questions flew. Jabari remained silent. His father demanded answers. Elders grew suspicious. And for the first time, the village's trust in Jabari cracked. That night, Ayana walked home through the dust paths, heart pounding, but proud. She had done what no one else dared. But truth, she soon learned, invites shadows. At midnight, someone knocked on her door. It was Nia, a friend from the village. Her eyes were wild with fear. Ayana, run. Jabari's men are looking for you. They say you've dishonored the chief's house. Before Ayana could respond, the door burst open. 2 masked men grabbed her, dragging her into the dark. Ayana awoke in an abandoned storage hut outside the village. Her wrists were tied, and her head throbbed. Jabari stood in the doorway, his face unreadable. "You could have come to me first," he said softly. "Instead, you chose to shout like thunder." She spat at the floor near him. "The truth doesn't ask permission." Jabari's voice turned cold. "What you did has consequences. My father is ill from the disgrace. Traitors have withdrawn. The village suffers now. Because of your mouth. Because of your lies," she snapped. He stared at her for a long time. Then he turned and walked away. Days passed. Ayana remained locked up, weak but unbroken. One morning, a cloaked figure arrived. An old man with a twisted staff. He knelt beside her and whispered, "Your fire has made enemies, but also friends. I am Kweku. I once lost a daughter to Jabari's blade. I will help you escape." That night, with Kweku's help, Ayana fled into the forest, wounds stinging but spirit fierce. She vanished like smoke beyond the village borders. 6 moons passed. The rains came and went. Nzamba changed. And then one morning, Ayana returned. But not alone. Behind her were traders from the north, elders from neighboring villages, and even a city magistrate. All had heard her story. All had investigated. And all had found the truth. Jabari had indeed led the deadly raid. He had hidden the loot and silenced witnesses. But Ayana had survived to uncover it all. The whole village gathered beneath the great baobab tree. Ayana stood tall, her hair loose now, her eyes sharper, her dress embroidered with signs of justice and wind. Jabari was brought forth in chains. For the first time, his voice faltered. "Why come back? You could have lived far away." Ayana's voice rang out. "Because truth does not sleep, and justice does not wait in silence." The elders passed judgment. Jabari was exiled, stripped of his title and honor. His father wept, but did not object. And Ayana became a legend.